Hey everyone, welcome to Hostel Discourse episode 4. Woo! Today we'll be discussing Apple's recent product releases as well as other technology of today and debating the age-old question, what is the greatest thing humanity has ever done? With us today, Jacob's back from London on Skype. We have a first-time guest, Noah Roberts.
Woo! Hey everyone.
You already know Joe and Jared. They're here every time. And I'm David. All right, let's start off with a technology-related question. What was your first cell phone, and how old were you when you got it?
Mine was the Razr, the old flip. It was a really good phone. I think I got it when I was 16, I want to say. It wasn't until high school. I was a little behind the ball.
You weren't one of those 12-year-olds with a cell
No.
phone? Not in Iowa.
Not in Iowa. We don't do it like that.
I got my first cell phone in 7th grade, and it was, it didn't have like a name, it was just the free Samsung flip phone from Sprint. Probably like SPH 3700 or something like that.
Nice. The nameless flip phone.
Yep.
I don't remember the name of my flip phone either, it was just a little like brick flip phone. But quick funny story about my first phone. It was just a piece of trash little thing. And I legitimately, on accident, like complete accident, dropped my phone in the toilet. Like, swear it was an accident. I brought it downstairs like, Mom, Dad, I dropped it in the toilet. They're like, oh yeah, sure. You're just trying to get a new phone.
Was it a poop or pee-filled toilet?
No, totally clean toilet. Thank goodness. I fished it. I was actually really scared that I was going to like electrocute myself if I fished it out. It took up some nerve. And this was in like 6th or 7th grade, so yeah, my parents weren't too happy. They didn't even believe me.
I also got the first generation Motorola Razr.
Hey.
And it blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
Just an excellent piece of hardware.
Was it the classic silver Razr?
It's black.
Black. Ooh.
Mine was red.
That gets you to like top tier social class.
Very quick.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, my mom and both of my brothers had a silver Razrs. I actually had the Crazer, which was Motorola's like updated version of the Razr. It was thinner and like glossy and had a
That was my second phone.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it had like a front screen and it had this MP3 program on it. And the only free song I could get was this song by Prince. And so I would play it all the time. And I had this trick to make the sound louder. I'd always stick it in my mouth. No one remembers this.
Yep.
In middle school. And I would like open my mouth as like a wah-wah to play the song.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a classic move.
Yeah, so that was my first phone. And then...
You had that slidey Samsung.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the sliding keyboard.
Yeah.
That generation. So Apple had an event at the end of March, I believe. They announced a new iPad Pro, smaller version, as well as
The iPhone SE.
that.
Ah.
How could I forget about it? I know, Joe, you had some interest in getting the SE and ended up getting the 6S. What do you think about the SE, and would you ever go back to a smaller phone or no?
Well, yeah, for me, I just switched plans. I just got the 6S, and I really like it. And I wanted the SE, actually, but it was like a buy one, get one free. My parents decided the 6S was better, so I got that. But I just love small phones. I hate having large things in my pocket. So for me, the SE was like the clear pick. So I think small phones are awesome.
Yeah, when they announced that, I thought like Joe was the target audience for this phone,
it really
and
was.
then you got a bigger phone. You still like prefer the smaller phone?
Yeah, I think so. I like the things I like about this phone are the capabilities, not necessarily the size. And I know some people said, oh, when you get it, you'll like enjoy the larger screen, but I haven't really noticed it. I don't know. It's probably just me.
And you have huge hands. I'd feel like you would want a bigger phone, but
Nah.
I guess it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I think for me, I have a 6S, but the SE is actually pretty attractive to me for a couple reasons. One, unlike Joe, I actually do have small hands. So many times if I'm trying to do something one-handed, I can't do it as quickly or as easily as I wished I could. with the larger size of the 6S. So that's one thing that I would like about having a smaller phone. The other one, like Joe said, is just like size in the pocket. The 6S isn't as like bulky, or that size isn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I still remember the size of my 5S, and I liked the way that felt in my pocket better. And then finally, I feel like if I had a smaller phone, I've been trying to figure out a way to prevent myself from looking at my phone all the time. And one of the ways I've been thinking about doing that, because it really picked up when I got a 6S, I think just because it had a bigger screen, and especially when my MacBook Air crapped out, I was using my phone all the time. But I kind of wish, or I think, if I had a smaller phone, I wouldn't be as tempted to pull it out all the time, and I'd be able to, I don't know, maybe be better in social situations or something like that.
Yeah, like actually talk to people more. Yeah.
I also think, and like I said, my MacBook kind of crapped out. I think kind of forcing myself, I recently am borrowing someone's iPad, and I've noticed myself, when I actually need to get something done, I'll grab the iPad way quicker than I will an iPhone. And even with that as well, like, I've noticed myself using my phone less. So I think getting an SE, it's cheaper, it's smaller. I just think for me it'd be a much better fit.
Yeah, you'd use it more as a phone rather than your personal media device that you have everywhere. Yeah, I get that.
I think that's always been my complaint too, is even when I had, I mean, it's just iPhones in general, but it's always just been like 80% of my usage is scrolling through Facebook or whatever media I have on there, and I wish it was just a phone. I don't know. I think that hampers me somewhat.
Go back to the Razor, man.
The Razor.
So
Joe,
Smartphones are overrated.
freshman and sophomore year, I think.
Yeah.
Joe was the only one that did not have a smartphone in college. He had some crappy flip phone.
Yep. This is a slide, I think. But yeah, I didn't get a smartphone until my junior year when I studied abroad. I will say that if we made phones that didn't have like all the capabilities of an iPhone, like if we tried to go back to just basically talking and texting, you could make it so small. Like,
yeah,
it'd be tiny. Like, I'm thinking, like, I don't know if you guys have seen Zoolander, but he has that, like, tiny little phone.
What is this? A phone for ants.
A phone for ants.
Different quote, but whatever.
Probably possible
Combined.
with today's microchip.
Yeah.
I've been watching this new YouTuber named Casey Neistat, and he rides around everywhere on this electric longboard called the Boosted Board. And there's a bunch of different, like, electric personal transportation devices out there. But the Boosted Board is so sweet. It looks exactly like a normal skateboard. It just has two tiny thin batteries on the bottom and motors like next to the wheels. I would definitely get it if it wasn't $1,000, but that price is a little steep. Have any of you used like a hoverboard? I know they've been banned on campus, but nobody's used it. Like the hoverboard, you
Not
stand.
the actual
Oh,
hoverboard, like the
okay.
little
Yeah,
gyro,
the one where you
two-wheel
like
thing.
lean and it
Yeah,
drives. Okay.
yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, my cousin Elijah has a hoverboard. He graduated from Heelys at the age of like 18. Now
Nice.
he's on his hoverboard.
Nice.
He literally doesn't walk anywhere. He Heeleyed everywhere his whole life, and now he hoverboards everywhere.
Gosh.
It's so funny.
That is hilarious.
But he's amazing at it. You can get on his back and piggyback, and he rides on the hoverboard. And it's hard to just balance yourself on it. It's like crazy how good he got it.
That is impressive. That's really impressive. But another dark horse you just reminded me of, Heelys could be the greatest thing man's ever done.
Okay.
I never had them.
Oh my gosh, they're so much fun. Quality of life at school improved tenfold with Heelys.
Did you own them?
Rolling through the hallway. Are you kidding me?
The thing to me about those, like that hoverboard thing you were talking about, like, there's just no way that is not a stepping stone to what we see in the movie WALL-E, where they're all just like riding around on chairs, and like it just seems so lazy.
Yeah, I mean, like motorizing all of these transportation forms like skateboards and bikes and stuff that used to require physical exertion. I mean, it's really nice, but I don't know. Yeah, you're going to get fat if you're never using... I mean, we drive around in cars everywhere.
Yeah, that's
normally,
also
but-
like, that's kind of a long way away, I think.
It probably is, but like it just seems like a stepping stone. Like to walk to class, that's like a 10-minute walk. and you need to like ride it. I don't know. At some point, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny because around campus, I feel like the people that I saw riding hoverboards the most were like athletes.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not like they weren't getting their exercise in.
They were getting their muscular rebuilding
Yeah,
back in.
as they were
Right.
resting.
Maybe Tulsa Athletics would be better if they didn't ride.
Maybe so. Nah, probably not.
Speaking of interesting technology, I think we should start our debate of the week. The question is, what is the greatest thing humankind has done in history?
You know, I haven't done too much research on this, so I'm going with my gut reaction, which is development of spoken language. Because I think for the most part, a lot of other greatest accomplishments hinge on that.
Who developed spoken language?
I think it was Steve Jobs.
Oh, wow.
I knew that guy was smart.
It was a crazy LSD trip.
Wow.
We've only had spoken language for like 80 years. That's insane.
I'm surprised. I didn't learn that in my history class.
I can see that as being like a good choice, especially since like Jacob said, spoken language does kind of lay the foundation for lots of other things, including what I'm going to say is my pick.
Yeah, and then the fact that, like, from a secular standpoint, it is, like, the defining difference between humanity and the rest of...
I would say that's written language, not spoken language, because lots of animals communicate by speaking.
Well, like making noises and stuff, they don't have like actual
Well, you'd be
grammar
surprised.
rules and things, you know?
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think
yeah.
that would count as language.
I don't know. I think you'd be surprised what animals can communicate with. But
Joe, the biology major,
that's
chimed
right.
in.
We'll give you
Coming
my
in
2
hot.
cents. I mean, like, ants use pheromones to communicate, and, like, they're some of the most efficient.
Yeah, but that's not language.
All right, well, I mean, it depends what you define language as. I'm not arguing your point. I think
Well,
it's...
you know, the dictionary definition.
yeah, back to last week's debate. Yeah, no, that's a good answer.
My answer that I chose is the creation of the internet. I think that the internet has allowed for crazy communication between people groups and has just really connected the world in a way that it's never been before, and has enhanced like a ton of different aspects of humanity, whether it be like economics or culture or entertainment. I just think it has touched on so many areas of our lives that's why it's been a huge invention in the history of the world.
Access to information completely changed.
I mean, the internet was originally created by the Department of Defense or some U.S. military group, just to like share information between a couple computers. Then it expanded to universities sharing medical research and stuff between scientists, and then the network of computers just expanded from there, and eventually connected everybody. But I mean, even like I've been to Haiti on a couple trips, and Haiti has, I don't know, it's one of the poorest countries and has the least technology of any place I've been to. But even like your average person in Haiti like has a smartphone, and they can watch like YouTube videos and see things from the rest of the world. And 15 years ago, well, I know the internet's older than that, but smartphones have helped the access to information through the internet. Just the impact that the worldwide culture, how it's shifted because of the internet, is crazy to me, even in a third world country like Haiti.
I think a fun question pertaining to that would be like, do you think World War I and II would have happened if we had the internet at that time?
Yeah, there would have been a lot of
A lot of emails.
tweets
Yeah.
going.
What are you doing?
Crammed in the cattle car going to the concentration camp.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't have made Hitler any less crazy. Like,
Yeah, but
I think what the more Western European countries in the United States would have been able to better understand exactly what Hitler was doing.
yeah,
You know,
people are like tweeting out, "Hey, I just saw a bunch of people get sent to a concentration camp," and then like America's like, "Whoa," I don't know.
yeah, it's.
I mean, we didn't
I think it's
under-
kind of a stretch that
It might be, but I'm just saying we didn't really understand like what was going on over there until we stumbled upon, concentration camps, and we're like, whoa, this is a lot worse than we thought. But it's just a fun thing to think.
Or even just like communication about war in general. Thinking about like the War of 1812 and the Battle of New Orleans, which actually took place after the war had already ended.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, communication.
Guys, we're done. We're done fighting.
We don't have to do this.
What? Noah, what is your answer?
So I decided to go with the agricultural revolution, when humanity transitioned from being hunter-gatherers to being able to domesticate crops, which then opened the door for diversification of jobs. So instead of everyone's job being to go out and hunt for or gather their food for the day, it allowed some people to specialize in farming while others entered other areas of work, and then they could trade the fruits of their labor. So whether that's builders and farmers and doctors and eventually lawyers and engineers, it really spread out the work that human beings could do and allowed for, like I said, the diversification of jobs and the building of cities and mass population centers.
So you're going for more of like a kind of like Jacob, a foundation type.
I think also like the internet, it fundamentally changed the human experience from I'm going to wake up, I'm going to find my food, I'm going to go to sleep. I'll be honest, like I don't necessarily think that it changed. I mean, I know the question is like the best thing humanity has ever done. I think it might be the most momentous thing that humanity has ever done. But I think there are advantages to being hunter-gatherers.
That's a good one.
I chose harnessing electricity as
With Thor's hammer.
yeah. Thor is the best thing. It's very ironic. An alien is the best thing.
Yeah, don't you mean the invention of electricity, Jared?
Yeah, you're right. Invention of electricity. Yeah, my assertion is that it is the single thing humanity has done. It's increased the quality of life more than any other event in human history. That's my assertion. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't have been able to harness electricity without language or societies, besides hunting and gathering. But that aside, the fact that we did was the thing that increased quality of life the most.
What qualities of life are you talking about?
I mean, like, in almost every way. I mean, health, like general happiness, kind of hard to measure, I guess, but, economics. I would say that, like, almost any way you can think of, any metric of quality of life you can think of, the fact that we harnessed electricity probably increased it. I would challenge someone to think of one quality that electricity does not enhance. Take your time.
I was trying to think of one, but
Anyway, that's my argument in a nutshell.
all right.
It's electric.
So for mine, you guys all went with kind of like things that I think happened over a period of time, and I wanted to go with something that like was one instance, like a specific time that happened. And also since I'm a pre-med guy, I wanted to do something medical. So I went with something that has saved a lot of lives, and that was the eradication of smallpox. So the development of the smallpox vaccine.
Jacob's all about it.
It was Thank you, Jacob.
My favorite vaccine.
Oh, the best.
Was
one.
it in Ireland?
No, not this time. That was last
That's
year.
a shot.
But yeah, so the smallpox vaccine was made in 1796, and like before that, it's estimated that like 300 million people died just in like the 1900s from smallpox. So it was eradicated in 1977. That was when the World Health was like, oh, it's over. So to me, that just seems like a great human achievement that we were able to take something that was killing hundreds of millions of people and wipe it off the face of the planet. I don't know. To me, that was the greatest thing humans ever done as like a defining instance.
Did smallpox have the potential to like wipe out humanity? Do you think?
Oh no, probably not. I mean, it'd been around for 3,000 years, but I mean, you're talking about something that has been killing people for that length of time, and we like just got rid of it, and now it's not a problem. I mean, it's not even something you think about in medical environments, which is cool.
Yeah. Is smallpox like the worst disease in human history? Do you think?
No, I'd highly doubt that. It's
Has a worse disease been cured?
probably, but
Automatically, you're out.
to me, like smallpox was the beginning of vaccination, which maybe there's
okay.
anti-vaxxers out there in our listener group, and I apologize for you. You're stupid, but
Whoa! Pow pow pow!
Yeah, you're polarizing our core audience, Joe.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Cool it.
But yeah, I mean, vaccinations, save lives. It wipes out diseases that we don't even think about anymore, that aren't relevant to us because we got rid of them. So I think smallpox is just the first example and the best example of that.
Okay, I feel
like if you expanded your answer to vaccinations, it could be a contender.
Okay, that's probably true.
wow.
Dang, David.
It's bold.
Throwing down.
No, it's a good answer, Joe. It's a good answer.
I think mine saved legitimate lives. I don't know if any of yours did that.
Well, the internet has pushed forward medical research, so it probably has.
That's indirectly, though.
Indirect.
I mean, Joe makes a good
Indirect.
point. Like,
I'm not saying that saving lives is equivalent to the greatest thing humanity's ever done, but because I mean we're all going to die eventually anyway. What does it matter if you die when you're 40 or 80? But I think it saved a lot of lives.
Are we gonna die though?
yeah, you can't prove that.
We already know this. We're already dead.
We're already dead.
Can't you see we're already dead?
I think there was a guy recently though, like some PhD guy, who was saying that he thinks the first person to live to be 1,000 is alive today.
I've
Oh
heard
yeah,
that.
I saw that.
Which is pretty crazy. It's just a guess. Like,
All right, you figured me out, Joe. It's me. Here's something interesting I saw earlier this week, which makes me reluctant to give a technology answer, even though I am so inclined. On Reddit, one of the big trending videos was this home video footage of asking people on the street if they had a mobile phone in 1999.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a pretty cool video, and it got some really different reactions from people, because the people responding in this video, I mean, it's not a very urban. It looks like a small town, this place they're filming in, but people are like, no, I have an answering machine if people really need to reach me. It's just, I think there's probably a pretty sizable chunk of at least America that if you said, would your life be over without the internet, they would say no. Like,
Wait, what?
I don't get it.
Yeah, you lost me there.
what I'm saying is, like,
I thought you were going to say yes.
Yeah. Did you mean yes?
I'm saying I'm reluctant to say the internet is the greatest thing humanity's ever done. Because some people might prefer it to be no longer a part of their lives.
Oh, I see.
Some people might prefer to be hunter-gatherers. There's always going to be people that don't like changes in culture.
No one's
tell you
going to
what
say
people-
they don't want spoken language.
I can tell you what people aren't going to want is to have smallpox.
Exactly.
Sharp point, Joe, sharp point. Look, here's my thing about the internet. Two things. One, it has... what are you laughing at?
Your thing about the internet.
Before you bring that up, I wanted to say my favorite part of that video you were just talking about was one guy was like, if somebody really needs to reach me, they can write me.
Yeah.
That was the best answer. All right, continue, Jared.
Okay, my two things about the internet. One, I mean, it just hasn't been around very long. It has revolutionized the way the people who it has affected live. But that's like, I don't know. It's been around for how long?
40 years.
40 years, yeah. And so it's changed everybody's life in that span of time. But compared to the impact that, say, something like, I should probably say my own argument, but something like...
Electricity.
Yeah, okay. The agricultural revolution has been, I mean, that was a long time ago. The impact it's had
15,000
is like really big. The other thing, the other problem with the internet is, I think there are some observable many observable drawbacks about the internet.
Trolls. Comment sections.
Yeah, exactly. Most notably.
Reddit.
Reddit.
Yeah, you have to deal with.
It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, exactly. I can't get on the internet and get a straight answer anymore. Always trolls.
I just looked up a
Wait,
quick.
well, you didn't say any real negatives.
Trolls!
I'm sorry. No, it's making me laugh.
Well, no, I do think that, like, kind of like what Jacob said, if the internet just went away, it went down. Sure, like, we'd complain about it for a while, but our lives, for the most part, would go on. I was in petroleum geology on Wednesday, or on Monday, and the internet was down for the first 30 minutes, so I actually had to listen to petroleum geology. I think of all of the things...
Use 4G.
Of all of the things that we said, I think what Joe said is the only one without at least someone thinking
Tell you whose
the
lives
opposite.
aren't going to go on.
Well, that's
People
not
with
true because some
smallpox.
people think vaccines are bad. So some people don't like it.
Yeah.
That's
And-
true. That's true.
Well,
Yeah,
sure,
and no,
vaccine,
you-
but at least
you left out mine.
the eradication of smallpox.
Um,
There's
But
always
the
going to...
eradication of smallpox wasn't actually Joe's. It was the development of the smallpox vaccine.
I did
So
start,
I mean, there is a difference.
I did start by saying the eradication of smallpox.
Oh, okay. Well, then you should
Semantics. Semantics.
That's a big
Yeah,
process
well,
thing. The whole process thing is not a good argument because that took 200 years.
Okay, well, it's because of the vaccine.
You got to pick one, Joe.
Okay, I'll just go with the vaccine because it led to the eradication.
Okay.
Just like you guys are going with
Alright, yeah, that's fine.
electricity because
Like, there's always going to be someone who will argue, humanity actually would have been better off if we had still been hunter-gatherers because we wouldn't have, built these big cities and ruined the environment, and people actually enjoyed their lives when they were hunter-gatherers and had more time for relaxing and enjoying life instead of always focusing on work. Or people will always say life was better before the internet because I didn't have fear of missing out all the time. Because, if someone really wanted to get a hold of me, they could leave me a voicemail. Or before electricity, at 6:30 when the sun went down, everyone just kind of went to bed, and it was fine.
So what are you saying?
What
You're
I'm
that
saying is,
everything has
like-
drawbacks.
Yeah, sure, everything is going to have drawbacks, but I think the eradication of a disease is actually something where no one would say, "Oh yeah, that was a poor decision."
I think Jacob's point is another one that fits in that category. Like I don't think anyone would want to erase spoken language. Like spoken
Oh,
language
sure.
is kind of another one that. Yeah,
I'd much rather
even-
do
that'd
that.
be spoken language.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're saying that like the world would be fine without the internet. Not having it in class was a good thing, but like look at North Korea, a country whose evil leaders like completely control the internet, siloed off from the rest of the world. If their people had full internet access and could talk to the rest of the world, I feel like we'd be able to help them. Relating to the Holocaust case, that I would argue that it probably wouldn't have happened because it would have been stopped a lot sooner. Hitler's revolution of Germany. And if the people of North Korea had internet access, I feel like we would know what to do to help them a lot more than we do now. And other countries in Egypt and Syria and ISIS and everything, we're able to see right into the crap that's going on because the internet is there and that communication is there. So that's why I think the internet is so important.
Well, so are you saying that, like, it would potentially be as bad if there was no internet? Modern societies could start mirroring North Korea?
No, I'm just saying, like, in the cases where there are evil governments or rulers, having internet, the internet helps to be able to help, it creates transparency in the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that North Korea is siloed off from that worldwide internet, so there's no transparency there, so it makes it a lot harder to deal with their situation.
But that goes into more than just the internet. That's like institutions of government and stuff like that, and censorship. Like it's more than just the internet.
I looked up a quick fun stat that how many people have access to the internet, and
Yeah,
it's
half the world.
3 billion, yeah,
Yeah.
which is less than half actually. But Jared made a point earlier about how many people actually like use the internet. So 3 billion. But I think those 3 billion's lives are definitely better because of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, the internet is overall a good thing. But for that reason, and because of how young it is and it's impacted probably relatively less people, that's the only reason I don't think it's necessarily the best thing. And maybe that could be the same reason for smallpox. Like, I don't know. I'd have to make up numbers.
If,
but like,
if not very many people actually had smallpox, you mean?
yeah, you know, like
percentage of the world.
right. I don't know, though.
If we didn't have the internet, we wouldn't be able to see Jacob's beautiful face right now.
It's true.
Yeah, listen. Without internet, this podcast wouldn't be possible. Therefore, it's the greatest thing in the world. Actually, the invention of podcasts.
Ah, yes.
And to your point, 300 million died within 100 years. 21st century, 300 million die. Pretty big number.
Wait, did you say the podcast wouldn't be possible without the internet?
Yeah. Do you disagree?
I refute that.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
like radio shows.
Radio was real. You could record
Okay.
audio.
I don't know if
And
that...
I also would. I'm skeptical of Jared's previous claim that the internet is ultimately a good thing.
Oh.
Wow, now we're getting into it.
Sure. Well, there are
I
certainly
do not
redemptive
think it's
qualities
that
to the
simple.
internet.
So you would argue
I was-
that the internet overall has been bad for humanity?
No, I would argue that the jury's out.
Well, it has, like I
and-
said, it has redemptive qualities to it, as with anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Jacob.
definitely, it's not inherently bad. There's no way.
Yeah, prove quickly that it's like not a good thing.
But if he did that, then the jury
Sorry,
would
I'm
not
not
still
going to be
be
able
out.
to just like
Which was
riff
his
that
argument.
off the top of my head. If I took an immediate like check of my personal experience with the internet and just the toll that it's had on my life in this typical like, oh my goodness, this generation is always on their phones and stuff, I know that is a truth about myself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times that I feel hyper connected to society, and to a point that it wears me out. I'm afraid it might be just skepticism or whatever. I'm trying to just think it through, but I'm not going to just chalk the whole internet up as a win. Yeah, the more I think about it, like, I don't know. The internet, I think of all of the ideas we brought forward today, the internet definitely brings the most drawbacks.
David just feeling the burn
Just-
right now.
The electric chair murdered people. Well, there's
I mean,
drawbacks
that's
to
true,
everything.
but that's just like a I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
They're gonna die either way.
Well, as a
Using
result
the-
of
using
this
the-
whole
beheadings.
using the internet for bad purposes because of bad human nature, like
I can tell you what you're not going to use for bad human nature. It's a smallpox vaccine.
I don't know about that. What's the? Oh yeah, Mission Impossible 2.
Probably seen it. Don't remember it.
I don't think it's a smallpox vaccine, but
bad
they try and
things
steal
can
some
be-
vaccine or something, and
That
bad stuff happens.
Yeah, in X-Files, that's how the government implants alien DNA into.
And in the show Utopia, they use vaccines to sterilize the human population.
Yeah, Joe.
so you can shut
obviously.
up, Joe.
All right, you're all referencing
Get outta
TV
here.
shows and movies as examples for why mine's
Hey man, that is real life.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, good discussion, everybody. Thanks for joining us, Noah. Hope you had a good time. Thanks for Skyping in again, Jacob.
Thank you.
And thanks for listening. You can listen to the podcast on iTunes called Hostel Discourse or soundcloud.com/Hostel Discourse. And if you could, leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. That would really help out the show and help us rise through the rankings. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
So long.
Deuces.